From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old-mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us, true believers, for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for April 2022. I'm really excited about this spring. April is always the time when the publishers start gearing up for their big summer events because they love a big summer event, crossovers, all sorts of stuff. And April is when they start getting ready because everything tends to kick off in May at Free Comic Book Day, which this year is Saturday, May 7th. And I'm also really excited about that hopefully we're going to be back to normal, where we can have lots of people, lots of sales, lots of stuff going on, sidewalk sales. We'll have the grill out with hot dogs. We can get back to that we haven't had for the last couple of years. It's always my favorite day of the year, and it's been really sad that we haven't had it. I think 2 years ago I was actually sitting at home on Free Comic Book Day, which was sad. So, April's kicking off all sorts of stuff. So we're also have book club back. We've had 2 of them so far and really well attended. I think people are just really happy to get back together talking with people as opposed to Zoom meetings or sitting just staring at the same people they live with. So we're doing Black Science on Friday, April 29th. It's by Rick Remender and Matteo Scalera. Big sci-fi, I want to say time travel book. But I only read the first couple issues long ago, but real good, real pretty, and I know the people that read it really enjoyed it. So we're going to start with that one. We're doing a spotlight because there are so many new X-Men titles coming out. They're revamping the line. I decided to make it X-Men month to focus on past X-Men books. So it'll be double points on all X-Men graphic novels all April long. So since Marvel has a ton of stuff coming out, we're going to start with them. So this is what's coming from Marvel Comics this month. We have Amazing Spider-Man #1. It just wrapped up the current run with issue 93, and now we're starting with a brand new #1. It's Zeb Wells, who's been writing it, and John Romita Jr. is back. He had spent a few years over at DC doing Superman and some other things, and now he's back at Marvel and on their big book. What did Spider-Man do? Peter's on the outs with the Fantastic Four. He's on the outs with the Avengers. He's on the outs with Aunt May. No one wants to see Spider-Man except Doc Ock. Ock's on Spider-Man's tail, and the Master Planner has something truly terrible planned for when he gets his tentacles on Spidey. All that, and what does Tombstone have planned? Just in time for Spidey's 60th anniversary. We're also going to be getting, in the next few months, an issue 900, so very exciting. We also have some facsimile editions to celebrate Spider-Man's 60th anniversary. We're getting Amazing Spider-Man #1, Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1, and Spectacular Spider-Man #1. I think we're also getting Amazing Spider-Man 238, which is the first appearance of the Hobgoblin. Now, Captain America is back. Captain America series finished up a couple months ago, and it's back, and in an interesting way. We're getting Captain America 0. When Arnim Zola launches a catastrophic attack on New York City, he meets his match in Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers. In the explosive battle that follows, 2 Captain Americas prove better than one, and Sam and Steve decide they might just keep a good thing going. And this is going to lead to 2 different Captain America series coming up in June, where we get a Steve Rogers Captain America book and a Sam Wilson Captain America book. We also have Hulk versus Thor, Banner of War Alpha. By Donny Cates, who's writing both books. Hulk and Thor have both undergone massive changes recently, but one thing remains constant: their heated rivalry. When mysterious circumstances bring them into conflict once more, will the God of Thunder be able to triumph against a Bruce Banner who can now control his rage? And this is celebrating the 60th anniversary of both of these characters. We're also in Thor 24 is actually issue 750, so it's going to be a giant-sized spectacular. Fan favorite creators like J. Michael Straczynski and Walter Simonson return to this oversized issue. Celebrate the long and storied history of the God of Thunder with the writers and artists who helped build his legacy. Deadpool is back. This is an interesting one. They did an original graphic novel called Bad Blood. This was by Rob Liefeld. And now they're serializing it and putting it out in issues. So Wade Wilson has been shooting, stabbing, and otherwise annoying people for a long time. He's made a lot of enemies, but one he just can't quite place is the brutal Thumper, who keeps showing up out of the blue to pound him into jelly. What is Deadpool's past connection to this beefy face masher? Wade has as much of a clue as you do, so he decides to call in some help from an old friend, Domino. Elektra is hitting issue 100. This is by Ann Nocenti and lots of artists. Elektra has been many things, a pawn, a pariah, and even a provocateur. But through it all, she has been one thing above all others, the most dangerous human being in the Marvel Universe. Everything that has happened in her long and storied life has been leading to this, the 100th issue bearing her name, and the starting point of what is to come. Now we get into some of the new X-Men books. We have X-Men Red, #1. This is by Al Ewing and Stefano Caselli. Who can save the Red Planet? The mutants of Arakko spent millennia scarred by war, but on what was once called Mars, they're learning to live in peace. Storm knows the Red Planet needs something greater than a queen, but Abigail Brand has other plans, along with an unstable Vulcan by her side, and Cable keeping his own secrets. Welcome to X-Men Red. It's a new world, and someone has to fight for it. We also have Legion of X, #1. This is by Cy Spurrier and Jan Bazalda. Krakoa has its laws, but does it have justice? To remain a sanctuary, Krakoa must safeguard itself against those who would damage its peace or traumatize its people. The lost must be found, and the wicked must face redemption or retribution. It's up to the ever-soulful swashbuckler Nightcrawler to keep the spark alive, and Legion to host his unique team in the psychedelic mind space called the Altar. With Juggernaut as a one-man riot squad and a host of X-favorites on the beat, the Legion of X will do anything to protect mutants' rights, to pursue happiness and hope, kicking off with a hunt for a missing Iraqi god and a skinjacker possessing innocent mutants. The destiny of X bears its heart and soul right here. And then we have Knights of X #1 by Tini Howard. This is continuing Excalibur. The quest begins here, where mutants are hated and feared once again. The gates of Otherworld are closed, and Captain Britain is trapped on the wrong side. Usurpers, Merlin and his right-hand man, King Arthur, are now in control of the lunatic citadel. Furies the size of sentinels raze villages to the ground in their hunt for the witch breed. Cut off from Krakoa, Betsy Braddock is Otherworld's only hero. And to save her people, Betsy must recruit a new round table of her own. The Knights of X gather to restore the rightful order and rescue desperate mutants. But their quest is about to get so much bigger than that. This is the era of destiny, and the fate of Otherworld lies at the center of mutant-kind's future. Then we have giant-size X-Men Thunderbird #1. The world John Proudstar has returned to is completely different from the one he knew. Looking to find refuge in the familiar, Thunderbird seeks out someone from his past at an Apache reservation and uncovers a horrifying threat to the indigenous mutant community. Will Thunderbird be able to save his people, or will his justified rage lead him astray? Then we have X-Men 92, which is a comic series that they've done in the past based off the cartoon show and the character designs and behaviors from that. And they're doing House of 92, where it's going to take place on Krakoa, as if they had done the whole Krakoa thing back then. Everyone's favorite 90s incarnations of the X-Men have returned, but this time everything is even all newer and all more different. Mutantkind is taking a huge leap forward by founding their own nation on the island of Krakoa, guided by Professor X, Magneto, and a mysterious, long-lived woman who knows more than she should. That's right, the 90s X-Men are tackling the Krakoan age 30 years early, and it's not going to go the way you expect. Hulk Grand Design Madness. This is the second part of Jim Rugg's Hulk Grand Design series, concluding the second half of the Hulk's history. Moon Knight Black, White, and Red. The new Moon Knight show just started up on Disney+, and so we're getting everything Moon Knight. So this is a bevy of comicdom's finest creators put their mark on the Fist of Khonshu in stories depicted in stark black, white, and blood red. We have Captain Marvel Annual. Captain Marvel Behind Bars? Carol has gotten herself into an intergalactic scale of trouble with the Krasky military, and now she's locked up in their city-like prison with the Starjammers. Will they be able to bust her way out, or will they be lost in the authoritarian labyrinth of the Krasky Way? What if Miles Morales 2? This is Miles Morales, and this one becomes Wolverine. We have one-shot Doctor Strange Nexus of Nightmares. That title's oddly familiar to a movie that's coming. To dream or not to dream, Nightmare has invaded Doctor Strange's dreams and turned them into terrible nightmares. These dark feelings now inhabit every fiber of Doctor Strange's waking life and has left him weak and unable to protect the realm. Now Baron Mordo and Nightmare are ready to strike. Can Stephen shake Nightmare's grip over him, or will the world be lost to Nightmare's dream realm forever? And lastly, for Marvel, we have Spider-Punk #1, spinning out of the Spider-Verse series. Anarchy in the Spider-Verse. Spider-Punk gets his own series. Hobie Brown is the Anarctic Spider-Punk, set to protect Earth 138 with his axe in hand and his chaotic band of punk rockin' heroes backing him. Norman Osborn is dead, but will the chaos he's created be too much for Spider-Punk and gang to handle? Now on to DC. DC has some really big stuff coming this spring and summer. We're going to start off, Batman 122 is continuing Shadow War. It's Shadow War Part 2. Ra's al Ghul is dead and Talia is out for revenge. Batman is on the case to find Deathstroke before Talia's elite killers do. But Batman starts to piece together that not everything is what it seems in Ra's death, and knows whom he must interrogate to get answers. Talia herself. Can the two former lovers ever work together again? And then this continues into Deathstroke Inc. #8. Deathstroke and Respawn are on the run. Deathstroke Inc. has been destroyed and his villain associates killed by the Demon's Shadow. Deathstroke must explain to Batman why he killed Ra's al Ghul, but first he must survive the hundreds of deadly killers coming for him. And then Part 4 is in Robin 13. Robin and Ravager have caught up with Deathstroke and Respawn. Can they convince Deathstroke to turn himself in, or fight to the death? And what startling revelation does Robin learn that shocks this story to its core? We also have a new Batman Beyond book, Batman Neo Year 1. Neo Gotham is alive and killed Bruce Wayne. It's rejected Terry McGinnis as Batman and offered him a chance to escape. Terry turned it down. He is the city's protector and he will uphold the legacy of Batman. Now Neo Gotham will do everything in its power to destroy Terry, including creating brand new villains to fight him. Terry's first year without Bruce Wayne begins. Does he have a fighting chance? Then we get Flashpoint Beyond Zero. Flashpoint was back in 2011, and they brought back Jeff Johns with artist Eduardo Risso to revisit it. The world of Flashpoint returns. After sacrificing everything to help the Flash put the universe back together and save Bruce Wayne's life, Thomas Wayne wakes up in a world he thought was no more. Forced to don the cowl once again, Batman prowls the streets of Gotham, searching for answers to how this world still exists. But what he started to uncover will send him hurtling around the globe. The hunt for the Clockwork Killer starts here. Then we have Flash, the Fastest Man Alive one, race through the streets of Central City in this lead up to the hotly anticipated blockbuster The Flash movie. After Barry's adventure with the Justice League, he's determined to become a truly skilled and inspirational hero. As a new threat emerges in Central City, going by the name Girder, Barry turns to Batman for advice on training to master his powers. Can the Dark Knight help show the Scarlet Speedster a way to defeat this metallic menace, or will the Flash be crushed by Girder's strength? Then we have Earth Prime 1. Spinning out of the hit CW shows, Earth Prime continues the adventures of your favorite heroes from the small screen. While each issue focuses on a different Arrowverse series, a threat lurks in the background, out to finally bring these heroes to their knees. Issue 1 is Batwoman. Ever since the tech that created many of Batman's rogues hit the streets, Ryan Wilder has been running herself ragged, trying to contain the new villains popping up around Gotham City. But when Clayface's mud binds itself to a local high schooler, Batwoman will need help from an unexpected source in order to contain this muddy foe. And then here's the biggie that DC has coming. It's Justice League 75. This is just a single issue written by Josh Williamson and drawn by Rafa Sandoval. A new dark army made up of the DCU's greatest villains has formed on the edges of the multiverse. The DCU's best and most powerful heroes are pulled together in an epic war to push darkness back. But in the end, they are no match for it. That's right, you heard it here first. The Justice League are killed by the Dark Army, with only one survivor to warn the remaining heroes of Earth about what is coming for them. So that's going to be DC's big summer event. What's matter? Then, and one that a lot of people are really excited about, the Sandman universe is back with Nightmare Country #1, and this is written by James Tynion. Sometimes nightmares walk the earth. Every night when you sleep, the Lord of Dreams chooses the path you'll follow, into a Sylvian Elysium or down the hallways of your darkest fears. And sometimes, if it's dream's will, those nightmares escape those halls and go out into the world. But it's not a choice he makes lightly. Today, the Corinthian walks the earth again, the most feared of all of Dream's nightmares. His ravenous mouths have made him a legend among serial killers. Letting the Corinthian out among mortals is the most dangerous thing Dream could possibly do. But he has no choice, because there is another nightmare walking the earth, one that must be hunted. And this monster is one that Dream, Lord of Nightmares, did not make. Image has several new ones this month. We have Bloodstained Teeth, which is a good name for a vampire book. It's by Christian Ward and Patrick Reynolds. Atticus Sloan, misanthrope, criminal, a-hole, and vampire. Lives in a world where blood isn't the only thing vamps crave. And for the right price, he'll make you a vampire too. After all, immortality isn't cheap. And interesting, we have Lego Ninjago. Image and Skybound have gathered up the Lego license. So we have Lego Ninjago Garmadon. Perfect for fans new and old alike. Far away from Ninjago City, a village is terrorized by a mysterious new threat when they are saved by a stranger with incredible powers known as Garmadon. Lord of Destruction? Has Garmadon turned over a new leaf since his disappearance? Or is this just the first step in his master plan of finally defeating Master Wu and the ninja forever? A Town Called Terror by Steve Niles and Simon Kudransky. Henry West is brutally kidnapped in the middle of the night while his wife Julie watches. Terrified, Henry awakes to the reality of his whereabouts, but Julie, with no evidence of the phantom crime, is unable to get help to search for him. And also Image #1, we're celebrating Image's 30th anniversary, and they're doing a 12 monthly anthology books. Celebrate the 30th anniversary of the first Image comic with a year-long parade of all new stories from some of the biggest and best names in comics. Then we have The Secret History of the War on Weed. This is by the Deadpool team of Jerry Duggan and Scott Koblish, and Brian Posehn is writing it. Telling the true story of the lost chapter from our nation's sad and failed war on drugs. Dark Horse always has some good stuff, and of course Mike Mignola has to have a new book. We have British Paranormal Society, Time Out of Mind. British Paranormal Society member Simon Brittenholm and Hundra Grant arrive at Nexton together with separate goals. Honora hopes to uncover information on the town's strange traditions while Simon is searching for his missing assistant. But their separate investigations lead down the same twisted path that hides a dark secret behind Noxton's innocent facade. Next, we have Breakout by Zach Kaplan. When massive cube spaceships from another dimension materialize over our cities and routinely abduct teenagers to be held inside their mysterious floating prisons, Liam Watt's younger brother Tommy is taken. But while governments and adults across the world accept this loss as inevitable, Liam refuses to give up hope. Now in a Take Back Our Future anthem, Liam assembles a skilled team of ordinary high school students to risk it all. But can they pull off the impossible and succeed in an out-of-this-world prison break? The Collector Unit, Unit 731 by Will Conrad. A man can go by many names, and when someone has been around as long as Michael, he can gain more than a few aliases. Now he's Michael Smith, but back in the 1940s he went by James. When the obituary for John, who Michael met during World War II, comes up in the paper, Michael finds himself reflecting on a lifetime he left behind, and the horrors and experiments he, John, and others endured at the infamous Manchuria-based Japanese facility known as Unit 731. IDW has some good ones this month. The Rocketeer, The Great Race by Stephen Mooney. Ace stunt pilot Cliff Secord has returned from his New York adventure to a West Coast steeped in paranoia over the looming war in Europe. Having finally had enough of his near-death scrapes as the high-flying Rocketeer, the only thing in Cliff's crosshairs is the Great Race, a prestigious winner-take-all race that runs from California to France. Maybe it's time to smarten up and fly straight by taking his best girl Betty to Paris. But other parties want to win the race for their own nefarious ends, and Cliff will need to decide which prize is truly the most valuable of all. Then we're getting the G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero 40th Anniversary Special. And what's going on, we have a bunch of different artists taking a different page of the famous classic G.I. Joe 21, the silent issue. And each artist is taking the page and redoing it in their style. Dynamite has some new ones. We have Project Superpowers Fractured States by Ron Martz and Andy Lanning. As the nation is torn apart, someone is murdering all of the patriotic heroes. A mysterious amnesiac awakens in a sealed underground base, naked and abandoned. This John Doe emerges in the year 2052, where the entire Project Superheroes universe has been turned on its head. The United States is no more, ravaged by environmental disaster and fragmented into warring regions. The Black Terror is now many revolutionaries trying to save the Republic. But who is John Doe? Why can't he remember anything? And does his presence in this brave new world bring its salvation or its doom? John Carter of Mars #1 series, Soldier, Outcast, Husband, Hero. It's the year 1919. An asteroid of pure ninth hurtles towards Earth. Its teeming power slowly melds the people of Earth to Mars and Mars to Earth. John Carter is ripped from everything he knows, powerless and confused, suddenly in battle with Martian apes in Virginia. Then we have Immortal Red Sonja. This is by Dan Abnett. Sonja as you have never witnessed. It is a time of British legend. A young Red Sonja, cursed by mysterious chainmail, seeks counsel with the mysterious Merlin. She seeks to be rid of her curse in order to forge a future of fantasy and adventure. She will be pursued by the loathsome Green Knight, and if she survives and arrives at the castle of Merlin, what she finds would be infinitely more than she bargained for. Boom has a couple new ones this month. We have Alice Ever After by Dan Panosian. Alice first visited Wonderland as a child. Now, as an adult, it's her only escape from a cold, strange reality she finds herself living in. But in order to return to her fantasy world, she needs something stronger than mushrooms that change her size, and is forced to resort to crime to feed her growing addiction. Will Alice choose to escape from her uncaring family in childhood trauma in Wonderland, or find the courage to face her demons in the real world? Then The Vampire Slayer. After years of fighting against the forces of evil, Buffy Summers finds herself succumbing to the burden of bearing the Slayer mantle. To help his slayer, Rupert Giles is willing to risk a return to chaos magic, and with Willow's help, they attempt a spell to remove the trauma from Buffy's psyche. The effects backfire, though, and leave Buffy unable to remember her past or purpose. With Sunnydale under attack, a new slayer must rise to protect it, while Buffy's friends race against the clock to restore her true self. Bunch of stuff this month from Aftershock. We have Kaiju Score, Steal from the Gods. This is the second Kaiju Score series. Michelle is back. She has her own crew and she's making her own rules. Unfortunately, her tendency for getting into hot water still remains, and her involvement in that now infamous job in Florida known as the Kaiju Score is haunting her in many different ways. It's about to put her on a collision course with a new job, new characters, and of course, new monsters. We have Midnight Rose. This is by Jim Starlin. A particularly bizarre tale of loneliness, love, and what happens when you can't help but give in to the vengeance growing deep inside yourself. The Naughty List is a special Santa story. I had a family once, a wife who loved me, a child who we loved together. That's all gone now, been gone for hundreds of years. And because of that star, my name, it depends on where you live. Some call me Kris Kringle, others Papa Noel, but my real name is Nicholas Sinterklaas. And this is the story of what happens when you steal my naughty list. The ocean will take us #1. Something's lurking in the waters of Alzamar Bay. And when Casey March tries out for the swim team, he learns firsthand that messing with the social order of his new high school can have dangerous consequences, even deadly. Ahoy has a couple fun ones. We have Guilt, #1. Meet Hildy Williams, a tough, outspoken survivor of New York City's Upper West Side, with her very own time travel portal. For Hildy belongs to Guilt, the Guild of Independent Lady Temporalists. Their prime directive, do not alter the past without co-op board approval. And then The Wrong Earth is continuing its one-shots. Fame and Fortune, this one's written by Mark Russell. On Earth Alpha, Dragonfly Man and his billionaire alter ego Richard Fame work to bring citizens together. On Earth Omega, the Dragonfly busts heads and breaks unions with a savage intensity. But they both share one goal: build a new stadium with Richard Fame's name on it. AWA has a couple new ones. The Joneses. Spinning out of the pages of The Resistance, The Joneses focuses on a suburban family with a big secret. In the global pandemic known as the Great Death, mother, father, sister, and brother were all transformed into something superhuman. While the world embraces fascism born of fear, the Joneses realize they face grave consequences if they are exposed as reborns. Do they keep a low profile and hide in plain sight, or use their powers for good and risk exposure? Behemoth has an interesting one, Dark Beach. Earth has been drifting away from the sun for 300 years, but that doesn't stop Gordo, a crime scene photographer living inside the dome-protected city of New Reykjavik, from dreaming about its warm glow. Is the sun as dangerous as the government led everyone to believe, or will a murder rife with old sun mystery throw Gordo down a rabbit hole to find the truth? Scout has one called Cancelled. When washed-up kids show host Larry finds himself replaced by Cruncho the Clown, he tries to destroy the local town television tower, but instead gets himself electrocuted and sucked into the airwaves. They also have one, Vanity. Every great legend has a beginning, and horror stories are no different. However, our tale, as it is based on a true story, begins at the very end. The legendary Blood Countess Elizabeth Bathory is dead, and grave diggers are assigned to relocate her corpse. But who was she really? Was she a monster or a victim? Here we witness Elizabeth's birth and childhood and see the earliest moments of her life through her eyes. This includes her first encounter with death and blood that awakens the beasts that live in her innocent yet twisted mind. SourcePoint Press has one called Corollary. In a galaxy filled with two moons, twin suns, and twin planets, everything comes in twos, even the people. And if your twin dies, so do you. This is the way it has always been. So when Captain Andromeda's twin loses her life in a far-off military battle, and Captain Andromeda herself does not die, the universe demands answers that the captain is willing to give to the highest bidder. And lastly, Vault has one called Quests Aside. A skeleton, an apprentice mage, and an exiled princess walk into a bar for another shift at Quests Aside, the local watering hole run by once legendary, now retired adventurer Barrow. When the king privately explains that he plans to shut the place down, Barrow must find a way to hold on to his business and family he's built around it. It's always sunny in the realms. So lots of big stuff coming out in April, lots of fun stuff coming out, and everything's gearing up for Free Comic Book Day on Saturday, May 7th. So stick around, lots of stuff coming, and if you have any questions, you can always reach me at the store. The website's pittsburghcomics.com. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics. Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. Sorry the dogs were wandering around, but they're always here. And stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. See ya.
After a couple glorious months working for the Beyond Corporation as Spider-Man, everything is falling apart for Ben Reilly. The leader of the Beyond Corporation superhero program, and Ben's boss, Maxine Danger, has been messing with Ben's memories, erasing his implanted memories of Peter's childhood, and, with them, the life lessons imparted on him by Uncle Ben. With his moral compass out of commission, Ben is acting on instinct. All he knows is Beyond is responsible for what's been done to him, but they're also the only ones who can fix him.
He's here! What do we do?
Grab the infantilizer! Guys, I'm just looking for my friend. Gotta say, your reaction has me wondering what you've all been up to in here.
Who took the infantilizer?
This is why you have protocol staff.
Oh, yeah! Ben? Hi, Peter. Ben? Are you okay, man? I did something bad. To my head. I need you to put this on. Ben, I think you're really confused right now. About Beyond and their intentions. You can't ask me to just put that on. That's the thing, Peter. I'm not asking. Put that down, Ben. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Your voice is so familiar. It lives in my head. You grew up in Queens. You were bitten by a radioactive spider. You are Peter Parker. It's the voice that tells me my life in the second person. I'm the second person. And now even that's gone. You don't get to keep my life from me. You don't get to decide anymore. You don't get to decide.